bruises, knees and elbows, filled up with bandages. Used to point out every party, trying to get in some jeans. So I started dipping my face back at age 14.
So let's kind of watch. So he's charged with terroristic threats, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and disorderly conduct and some other stuff. But that's not the worst of his problems. But let's kind of go into this this video that he did.
Oh no, it's by accident. Like I'm a very handy person. I like your hat. You know how to dance? You know how to dance? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dance. Hold on. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
Yes. Oh. Yo.
Don't do that, buddy.
Yo, wait, why did you hit me?
You hit me.
I didn't hit you. I just shot him in your head. Oh.
So they're filming this video, and they take the guy's hat, and the guy gets a little pissed off. And in all fairness, the other guy is kind of the aggressor here, it seems.
Whoa. Wait. Oh, yo, you gotta chase him. He said go outside, yo. Give him. Wait.
So Nas EBK's got the hat on, as you can see, and he's antagonizing him.
Yo, relax, dude. Relax. Look, I got 30 people outside. Video, bro. It was just a video. Yo, it was just.
See, right there he says, "I'll violate you," and I didn't see it in the video, but apparently he brandishes a knife.
Yo, it was just a video.
What you doing, bro?
Yo, it was just
one time.
Yo, relax. Yo, look, it's a video. Yo, it's a video. Yo, Nas, it's a video. It's a video. Look, it's a video. Oh. Yo, bro. Yo, back up. Yo.
And he's constantly saying he's going to violate you. So terroristic threats, all it means is just you're threatening somebody with physical harm, essentially.
Yo, back up. Tell him back up. Oh.
And then he kicks him, and then they run away.
Shit. Yo, what you?
It is what it is. But, so he got picked up by the U.S. Marshals for that because he must have had an out-of-state warrant. But that isn't the big deal. So he was in and that was on late February, like February 22nd or something like that. But he was recently rearrested for second-degree murder in relation to a Times Square shooting. Just weeks after that arrest, he was recently rearrested for a murder that happened in Times Square. Now, keep in mind, anything that happens in Times Square, you think they've got plenty of cameras in Times Square? Huh? He got into a beef with Idrissa Saibi, S-I-B-Y, I might be saying that wrong, on February 9th, following an argument that took place in Manhattan. Now, evidently, the argument that they had escalated, and it is alleged that Nas EBK shot Saibi. I think Saibi struck Nas EBK on the chest, and then he shot him. He put out a post on Instagram that says, "Innocent, only God can judge me. Be home soon, free to guys." Well, I don't have that many facts, but he claims that he didn't do anything wrong. If you're shooting somebody that's unarmed, that's a problem. If it's a shootout, that's a completely different animal. You have the right to protect yourself. So whenever you shoot somebody, the level of force has to be proportional. So it's pretty difficult to shoot an unarmed person and have that be proportional, unless there's some other factor that makes it more reasonable, because it's really what a reasonable person would do in similar circumstances. Okay? So somebody's shooting at you, it's more reasonable to shoot. You think about what would a cop do? Would a cop shoot back? Absolutely, a cop would shoot back. So Nas EBK is part of EBK, which is Everybody Killer, and he's a drill rapper. And the tensions between drill rappers and the New York law enforcement community is high, and there's also this tension about using the rap lyrics in their songs and not using the lyrics. But you've got a situation where they had this YouTube video, goes maybe a little too far, and that's really not that serious at all. I mean, But shooting and killing somebody is 10 times more serious. As you can see from the video that we just showed you, people are doing things all over the place these days to try to get attention. And he's blown up because of this. He collaborated with another YouTuber, and they're doing this prank. And, I'm just doing a prank. And sometimes, you guys, you see these pranks, and they can go wrong. And if they go wrong, it doesn't insulate you from criminal liability. So if you whip out a knife and say, I'm going to violate you, that's an issue, especially when you're fucking with the other guy. That's completely different than the murder charges that he's facing. These charges that he was facing were serious, but they, not really, because number one, nobody got hurt. And number two, it was in the guise of a prank. And so that would probably weigh a little bit in how you would prosecute that type of case. However, you're in Times Square, you get in a beef with somebody, and you shoot somebody in Times Square. Guess what? That's going to be all over video. So we're going to probably have video of that coming out soon. So what Nas EBK is facing right now is second-degree murder. There's a couple different varieties of second-degree murder. Let's talk about 3 different ones. You got felony murder, which is the commission of a felony and death resulting therefrom. You've got intentional murder, and you got unintentional. You can have intentional murder without premeditation. Which seems sort of oxymoronic. If you intend to kill somebody, that premeditation can be planned in, or it can be developed in just moments before. So, but you have an intentional killing, I intended to kill him because I wanted to stop him, blah, blah, blah. Or I was trying to stop him, I wasn't trying to kill him. So those are the 3 different types of murder in the second degree. So this killing was actually first killing since authorities designated Times Square, or tried to designate Times Square as a gun-free zone. Now, whether that'll hold up in light of the more recent Supreme Court decisions on firearm regulations with this very conservative bench remains to be seen. So what I mean by that is that case called Bruen, B-R-U-E-N. It's actually New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen. In a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court indicated that it is your right to carry a firearm in public without much. It struck down as unconstitutional and ruled the ability to carry a pistol in public was a constitutional right under the Second Amendment. They're trying to say that that Times Square should be a gun-free zone. It'll be interesting to see with this conservative Supreme Court whether that would hold up or not. So when you look at Nas EBK, and what his defenses might be, you got the right of self-defense. Was he being shot at? Or did he reasonably fear that his life was in danger and he couldn't flee? But, the whole issue about whether or not you can actually even carry a gun in Times Square, if it can really be declared a gun-free zone, that will be litigated at the Supreme Court level. Because the Supreme Court issue, when you have an issue, it's a federal issue, like the Second Amendment is a federal issue. It's like affecting your right to bear arms. The U.S. Supreme Court has the final say on that. And that's been all the way back to the beginning of our country. Marbury versus Madison is the case that talks about the Supreme Court has the final word on constitutionality of any kind of statute. And whether or not having Times Square as a gun-free zone to be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, and it all depends upon your politics, in a sense, because it was 6-3. It was conservative versus liberal. In order for it to get to the Supreme Court, you have to go through various steps. You have to go through a trial court, and then they issue a decision one way or the other. And then you go up to the Court of Appeals, and then you go to the Supreme Court. And once the Supreme Court rules, that is the final say on it, unless something else comes up to the Supreme Court, and then they reverse, like they did on Roe v. Wade. So that is just kind of a brief synopsis of kind of the structure of the court and the structure of the laws. But regardless of whether they overturn that or not, it's not going to affect Nas in his case because even if they say it's okay to have a firearm down there, that doesn't mean that he was legal in terms of shooting the person. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at Nas EBK, everybody killer, I love that you start out with that, you know, in court. My client's never killed anybody, but he goes with the EBKs. So that'll be another issue, actually, to litigate, whether his affiliation with EBKs becomes part of that trial, because I would try to keep that out, because, you know, you would think that being known as a member of EBK, everybody killer, would be more prejudicial than probative of anything. But if this killing had anything to do with gang affiliation or anything to do with anything related to EBK, well, then it probably is fair game. This is just our reaction to Nas EBK and what he's going through with two cases. He's got the terroristic threats case, you know, from the supermarket incident at ShopRite, and then you've got the murder in the second degree that, you know, and I guarantee you we're going to get some video out of that, and when we do, we'll react to that video, because there's video everywhere in Times Square. I mean, everybody, every building, every so many feet, I guarantee you there's surveillance footage. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal.
Man, this shit whack, man. I just stealing this shit from, man. I don't understand. It's like pause ain't no good, man. Bitch be calling me tapping that shit, man.